Hello friends, Self-Critical Automaton here, and we're playing more Dark Souls. Come on in, and let's look at this gross horrible thing. So, yeah, I don't remember what I was talking about at the end of yesterday's episode, but I've got plenty to talk about today, so that's fine. But I do want to draw your attention to that gross horrible thing. That's the centipede demon. We're going to fight that later. At the moment, it's made of stone. There's some interesting stuff that we can infer here about, again, what demons are, where they come from. What is a demon, technically, you know, taxonomically, what is a demon rather than a thing that's just a monster but not a demon. I've leveled up the old Black Knight sword a little bit and reorganised my armour to take advantage of Havel's ring, so that's gonna miss. Yeah. So, I mentioned before that these guys, these tubby round dudes, are, oh, one shot, that's good to know. There's statues of them all over the place, and they're identical to the statues. And maybe they are the statues, and some of them, like that one over there. Maybe they are the statues. So, there's kind of, yeah, thing about what the demons are, and I think there are indications that possibly the demons are stone brought to life, and this kind of backs up my theory about the Silver Knights having been created and given life, rather than, you know, being living beings in any true sense, which I talked about when I was in Sen's Fortress, if I'm not mistaken. There's a whole bunch of stuff here that actually backs that up, not least that these tubby demons are all over the place, and some of them are statues and some of them are not. And the other being that statue over there. Well, I mean, it's not a statue, as you can see, it's not kind of tied to the architecture in any way. It's, you know, it's something, you know, it's not, it doesn't, like, it looks like it crawled up there and then turned to stone, you know? So that's going to come to life and we're going to fight it later. Before that, we've got a few more Taurus demons to deal with. So while I'm taking care of these guys, I want to talk about an interesting thing I realised recently, which is that the Demon Ruins and Izalith make an interesting contrast to Anor Londo. Not just in the various senses that one might say that, but also in the architectural sense, or more specifically in the sense of the inspirations that went into designing this architecture. Before I get into that, I'm just going to point out that although these guys do shimmer out, they also respawn. They're the only things in the game that shimmer out and respawn, apart from golems. Now, that might cast, you know, negativity onto my theory about that shimmering out means it's, you know, because it doesn't respawn and stuff, but we are close to the source of the demons, their birthplace, their origin, where they come from. The golems are only found in places where their creator could reasonably be sending them. So I think that that doesn't disprove the theory. I think that the only time shimmery outy things respawn is when they are in fact physically close to where they might reasonably be being sent, or where they originate. Ah, I must be outside his aggro radius. I feel kind of cheesy doing this, but, you know, when in Rome, cheese as the cheeses do, or however that phrase goes. So, when I was in Anor Londo, I was talking about how the architecture of Anor Londo is very strongly and specifically inspired by Christian divine architecture in general, and specifically the Duomo di Milano, the Grand Milan Cathedral. So, yeah, I say so yeah way too much. But, now I knew that, I think the first time I played this, and you know, I've known that for ages, but one thing I only recently realised is that Izalith is also inspired by a real-world location. It's inspired by the architecture of the the temple Angkor Wat in southern India, and I can't remember the exact location. Sorry. And so, oh no no no! I don't believe it. Well, I'm not gonna cut. I'm just gonna keep talking. So yeah, and there's a feeling that Izalith, and okay, I'm gonna say Izalith to mean both the Demon Ruins and Izalith, because Demon Ruins is simply the outermost part of Izalith. There's a sense it feels older, and I think this might actually be an unintentional side effect of the inspiring real-world architecture, because the Duomo di Milano and Angkor Wat are not actually all that far apart in time. Angkor Wat was completed in about 1200, and or no, sorry, 1100. Okay, it was completed at some point in 1100 roughly, and the Milan Cathedral was begun in, I think, 1300. You know, I didn't write this stuff down, but I'm in the right ballpark. So they're not all that far displaced in time, although it is worth noting that the Milan Cathedral was not completed until 1965, which is a date I did not write down, but did actually manage to remember, unlike the other ones. So, yeah, the interesting thing there is that the Milan Cathedral reflected the dominant architecture of the time, Gothic architecture for religious purposes, whereas Angkor Wat was when it was built very strongly inspired by the historic architecture of the region, the Dravidian style of architecture, the Khmer architecture. More accurately, the Dravidian architecture inspired Angkor Wat, which is in the Khmer style. Like, yeah, you know, this is why you guys come to me, pretentious wanking on about architectural styles. But, yeah, so, although, you know, the places in the game are supposed to be contemporary, as far as anyone can tell, you know, the four great lords gained their powers at the same time, and, yeah, so it's not unreasonable that their strongholds are contemporary to one another. So, yeah, I think that possibly the fact that Izalith feels so much older, apart from the fact that it's, you know, underground and ruins, is partly due to that fact, that the architecture that inspired Izalith is significantly older than the architecture that inspired Anor Londo. So yeah, that's a fun fact. Yeah. You know, this is why you guys come to me. You don't get other Let's Players talking about direct architectural inspirations, probably for good reason. There we go. Grub-a-dub-dub. So, yeah. Kind of run out of steam. I'm not sure what to talk about now. But, actually, I'll move on to another thought. This is something that I started to talk about when we were in the great horrible lake of effluvium down at the bottom of Blight Town. There's like 4 more of these worm things that are going to appear in a second. God, I hate them. Are they fire vulnerable? I can never remember. Yeah, they come out of these holes. Boom, hello. Set you on fire. 54 damage, very little. Fucking hell. I haven't seen him do that before. Yeah, see that green attack? That's the one that just instantly destroys your weapon. So, yeah. Back then, when I was finishing off Blight Town and heading out into the swamp, and then off to fight good old Kellogg, I was talking a little bit about how that people associate fire with Izalith But that's not actually what her power is. The power of Izalith is life. The four powers taken from the dualities given by the first flame are life and death, and light and dark. Fire itself is the bringer of these things, but it's not a power in and of itself. So, yeah. I think this ties interestingly into what chaos is and what the corruption of chaos is, because it's always depicted and described as being a corrupting force. Chaos is horrible. The crag spiders and horrible monsters of under Blighttown are brought about by you know, they were pyromancers. The bloated creatures in the painted world of Ariamis, they were pyromancers who overused the power of chaos fire rather than pure fire, because fire itself and chaotic fire are different things. Now, we're going to find out more of this stuff as we go along, but the Flame of Chaos is a result of... I think I've talked about this before. The Flame of Chaos is a result of the Witch of Izalith attempting to restore the Age of Fire. We've heard a little bit about this before. I think I talked about it before. I don't actually recall. That essentially, when Izalith went to shit, was when the Witch of Izalith attempted to recreate the first flame using her own Lord's soul to fuel it. And everything went terrible, and now it's full of lava and monsters and demons. The Witch of Izalith herself was transformed into the main boss of this area, the bed of monsters, the mother of demons. Whoa, what's that? Did I not kill that one already? Oh well. I don't want it to spit on me. So, yeah. But the Witch of Izalith, her power was life. Her divine sphere, that is, was life. She was already associated with flame. Because after the coming of disparity, but before the finding of the four Lord Souls, these people were people, you know. They weren't gods, they were people. And the Witch of Izalith was the chief of the Flame Sorcerers, a lost art that used sorcery to manipulate flame rather than pyromancy, because pyromancy is a latter-day art, whereas sorcery is older. So she's associated with flame for these reasons. But that's not what her divine sphere is. Her divine sphere is life. Now, I've put this eloquently before, but I've completely forgotten what it was I said that was eloquent about it, or how to put it, or all of that stuff. It's probably a bit self-aggrandizing to put it that way anyway, so let's just knock this fellow over. Down he goes. 3 hits, got a lovely Black Knight sword. Yeah, so basically the Chaos Pyromancy is fire corrupted. What's it corrupted by? Life. When life runs rampant, what is that? That's cancer. That's not... That's a destroying force that's from too much life. From life trying to... Oh, fuck! Glad I'm not dead. Like... That's what cancer is. It's an overabundance of life. It's too much. Is this a shortcut, or is the shortcut somewhere else? I think this is a shortcut, but it's not open just yet. Let's just splat these horrible things, because they're gross and they bug me. That's a pun. What was I talking about? Oh right, life. Yeah. So the first flame is corrupted by her attempts to kindle it, essentially. And that's the birth of the Bed of Chaos, which births demons, which are perhaps the architecture of this place come to life. Brought to life by chaos, which is an overabundance of life. And all of the creatures we see that are affected by chaos, the corrupted pyromancers and their creations, they're bloated, tumorous, cancerous. So, yeah. I forget where I was going with this, but it's an interesting thing to think about. And, time to go fight a boss. Not the end boss of this area, just one of many, many bosses. There's 3 bosses in this area. There is this guy, there's the other guy, and then there's the big boss. Should we go? This is the Demon Fire Sage, a remaining Chaos Pyromancer, and in fact, the first demon to have been born from the Bed of Chaos. He looks familiar, right? This is the very first demon, and he looks identical to 2 other demons that we've fought. Oh, he's got that fucking AoE move. It's such a pain. It's pretty much... yeah, it can stun lock you, and if it stun locks you, it will just kill you. Oh well. So yeah, that's a thing that happened. Anyway, so yeah, even the daughters of Izalith, the famous, powerful flame sorceresses, and then later chaos pyromancers, become corrupted by this force. That's why Quelag is a weird spider monster, as is her sister. That's why the pyromancer who teaches you the highest level pyromancy spells, I can't remember if we've met her yet, but we may have done. She lives down in the horrible swamp. Is one of the only uncorrupted daughters. This is why the only son of the Witch of Izalith, Ceaseless Discharge, is a big horrible lava monster. Although it's interesting, does that mean that he was transformed after the horrible incident down here? Or does that... oh wow, okay. Or does that mean that, come on, finish him off. There we go. Or does that mean that the, what the fuck am I talking about? Yeah, or does that mean that he was born of the Bed of Chaos and he's technically a demon? Because he's not violent. He's not malevolent the way the demons seem to be. He's I mean, he doesn't attack you until you go and start rummaging in a corpse that is wearing the gold hem set, which all of the still humanoid daughters of Izalith wear. We'll meet one later who'll attack us and we'll kill her, and the other one is the aforementioned, is it Quelana? I forget her name. The, yow. Safest place to fight this guy is from behind him, so that when he does his AoE attack you can get out of the way. Gotta love butt slams. I swear there's not a single video game that doesn't have a butt slam in it eventually. Mind you, I mentioned that when we fought the first one of these, way back in one of the earliest episodes. He's big and horrible and I hate him, and... oh fuck. That's, it looks spherical, but it's directed forwards, which, so if you're able to be to one side of him, ideally behind him, you can avoid it pretty much perfectly. I think also it does damage depending on how close to the epicenter of it you are. See, as you can see, I would have been on the edge of it, but still hit if I'd been in front of him, but I was behind him, and therefore... well, I wasn't behind him, I was to one side. But yeah, oh, buggery. Is this going far enough? Nearly, but not quite. It's such a pain when he gets up against the wall, because you can't get behind him. So much hate. Don't hit me! Ah! So this guy drops one of the few better catalysts in the game. As I've mentioned before, there's not many upgrades for sorcerers in the terms of their spellcasting equipment. There's the basic catalyst, then there's a few different catalysts that are basically the same. Then there's a couple of other ones. Ouch. See if I can get him with the heavy stab. Yes. Nice. So, yeah. You know, I probably should have thought to myself before I started Let's Playing, can I play a game and talk at the same time? Can I keep my concentration up? Oh, for fuck's sake. I think it's impossible to dodge that. And of course you can block it, but it, you know, its magic damage goes through that. Oh, fuck. Are you just gonna do that forever? You suck and I hate you. I'm of course talking to him, not to you. I love all of you very much. So yeah. This is again one of those, one of the boss fights that essentially involves, stabbing a great big butt for pretty much the entire fight. Hey, it's down to half. Ouch. What was I even talking about? Oh yeah, the catalyst. So yeah, like, a couple of the better catalysts in the game you get from better sorcerers, such as, oh no, none of that, you. Such as old, Big Hat Logan, that's his name. God. I'm so forgetful lately, it's ridiculous. Come on. Let's be having you. Nearly done. Nearly done, nearly done. Oh shit. Yeah, so. Enormous, great big, orange butt, gets stabbed a whole bunch. So yeah, this, essentially, this is the point in the game when you finally get an upgrade for your sorcery apparatus if you are playing as a sorcerer. It's probably the longest time in the game to get an upgrade for any particular specialization. I mean, almost anything else gets upgraded before. In fact, I think anything else will have an upgrade before this point. Which is not to say you can't find other catalysts. There's the tin catalyst in Blighttown, and there's come on. Out of healing, that's no good. Won't be much longer, can it? Come on, a few more hits. I just can't let him get a big one on me. That would be much bad. Very not good. Much danger. Oh, come on, don't do it twice in a row, you big fat bastard. There we go. I guess he's not feeling too hot. Yeah, one-liner. So yeah, the Demon Catalyst. Let's take a quick look at that before we move on. If I can find it, I really need to clean out my inventory. There we go. Demon Catalyst, formed from Izalith molten rock, can be used as a fire weapon. The Demon Fire Sage was the first demon, the last master of the original fire arts, before the Witch of Izalith was engulfed by chaos, creating pyromancy. Hold on a second. Okay, no, he's the master of the original fire arts. He wasn't the master before the Witch of Izalith was engulfed. It's saying that the arts, the original fire arts, fire sorcery, ceased to exist after Izalith was engulfed by chaos, creating pyromancy. There we go. That was a bit of a... That threw me for a moment there. I was thought, have I been wrong all this time? Dear God. So yeah, this will be the end of the episode, I think. There's a bonfire over here, actually. Just down these steps. There we go. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this slightly more pretentious episode than usual. Come back tomorrow for... well, actually no, tomorrow's Saturday. Come back next episode for probably some more rambling about dualities and light and dark, and how Izalith became the oppositional factor from yeah, do I know what I'm talking about? Beats me. Bye.